WWE have released Matt Riddle. We've got an update on AW's TV deal, and LA Knight was pulled from SmackDown, and we've got the scrapped plans for that. Stay tuned for the news. It was revealed overnight that WWE has released one more talent as part of the most recent cuts that have been taking place this past week. Myself and Sam both covered them quite extensively when they happened on Thursday it was. We've got an update now though, because the most recent talent to be added to the list is Matt Riddle. It was revealed last night by PW Insider at first when they posted saying WWE has released Matt Riddle, that PW Insider has confirmed with multiple sources. They were told that the release took place around 5 p.m. Last night, assuming that would be US local time.
Yeah.
It's where they're based. And then this would later go on to be confirmed by Riddle on Twitter. He said, "Just wanted to inform everyone that I'm no longer with WWE. Thank you for the memories and opportunities, and also thank you to all of the fans for the support and love you give me every time I go out to the ring. See you all soon." Now, we've not seen Riddle on TV in some time. He's been pulled from TV due to some issues outside of the ring, which we won't really go into just now because we don't want to. There was an investigation ongoing.
The absence has been reported as a medical issue as well. But yeah, apparently 2 ear infections have been mentioned in and around that. But obviously, of course, there's the issue ongoing with the port authority, as you touched on, at the JFK airport.
Of course. So Matt Riddle was someone who joined the WWE roster about 5 years ago. He coming up in NXT. He obviously was formerly part of the UFC, which I do wonder if with the recent cuts we've seen, they've gone, well, we've seen his history, his track history, and we've gone, we need to cut some things here and there. But Fightful Select provided a further update around Riddle's recent WWE status, as they posted last night by saying Matt Riddle wasn't around backstage in WWE even before his release. Fightful Select has confirmed that contrary to rumors last week, former tag team champion Matt Riddle was never planned for last week's Raw show. There was numerous rumors that he was going to be there. They're confirming that that was not planned at all. One source that they spoke to said that rumors likely emerged from outdated information, him being on the running order, and he was never in creative plans for the show. He said he was doing some grappling training per usual this week, and he was in good spirits prior to his release. However, one WWE higher up said to Fightful that he'd burned through too many chances in WWE. As we said there's a lot of stuff going on outside of the ring for Matt Riddle. It's a shame. We're looking at all the positives of when we see a release, and we've been trying to do that this week and seeing what could they go and do. He feels like a name that AEW might go, let's bring them in. He'd be a great starting Impact for them.
Yeah, I feel, I don't know, for me, for whatever reason, I feel Matt Riddle will go back to the independent scene at large, simply because, beforehand, during the last sort of independent wrestling boom, Matt Riddle was a very featured part of that, right? He was a big part of that before coming to WWE. I don't know, in terms of, I don't really see him in AEW. I don't know what it is. I can maybe see him working with Impact, but at the same time, I think he's somebody that we may just see more of in general across several independent promotions.
And sort of being a freelancer, kind of trying to reinvent himself maybe on the independent scene, as we've seen numerous talents do in the past. Mark Cardona's a big name that we've mentioned this week with all the releases that he's managed to reinvent himself.
Yeah, Cardona, I mean, he's like the gold standard, right?
Absolutely. So maybe we'll see Matt Riddle in the independent scene. Him saying "see you all soon" implies that he's going to stay in the world of wrestling. But yeah, it seems like the cuts were still ongoing as of last night. We'll wait to see if there's any more. We know that budget cuts and the merger has really caused a lot of this, so we will keep an eye on that one going forward. But moving over to AEW just now, because we've got an update on a wrestling legend that I know you're a big fan of, Sam. So do you want to tell us what's going on with the Wrestling Observer newsletter?
Well, according to one Wrestling Observer newsletter, Goldberg was recently asked at a photo opportunity about AEW, and he said, "You never know." He mentioned he was talking to Tony Khan, which is something that had been sort of a thing in the past that's already been mentioned. It was around the time that AEW was kind of getting ready to go on TV, right?
Yeah, it was like, is Goldberg, is they're back on Turner?
But he said he was less likely to go because that douchebag CM Punk is gone, which Meltzer notes very kindly for us was likely Goldberg staying in character.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known, Look, I get a lot of flack for being a Goldberg fanboy, but at the same time, I just think it's funny, I think it's funny, like, bring him in, have him beat Roman, bring him in, have him beat Kenny, have him beat all the Elite. I want to see it. It'd be hilarious. I just want to watch everything fall apart and just burn.
He's the guy that pins MJF for the belt.
All of them. Every belt. I want a picture of him like Muta with the Triple Crown. I want Goldberg, just every belt, every company. Just because I want to see what you would all do in the comments.
Sam,
I
you're
can see
insane.
you now furiously sitting there eating your cornflakes or just asleep right now in America and not even aware of this happening on the news. You're going to be so angry, aren't you? Come back, Bill. We all want you back. Everybody does.
It's not what we want to happen.
Like 65, 70 years old, you can go till then. You know, hit some spears.
I do wonder what he'd be
Hit
like
some
in
Sean
AEW.
Spears.
Yeah, just keep the short, explosive matches. That's what we need.
No,
from
60-minute affairs, Fraser. He needs to show what he's capable of.
Yeah,
if he's
he's a
going to get booked
worker.
in New Japan, he's got to be able to hang with Okada. He's got to hit
Yeah.
at least 70, 80 minutes.
That's true. And
He's
get those.
better than Omega.
He
Come
knows,
on.
He knows. He needs those
Guys.
6 stars. Yeah.
No, I think, look, when you look at it seriously, Goldberg, he's been teasing this idea of a sort of farewell tour, right?
Yes.
A farewell tour across the world. So it might not be that he turns up and signs a deal with a company akin to what he signed with WWE, which was like sort of a Legends deal,
It was a
right? It was
Legends
like a
deal with
per
part-time,
appearance
yeah.
thing where it was like, hey, you're going to be here for 5-6 events. Yes, this is how much money you're going to make. These are all the featured spots.
Yep.
You're going to win the belt in very quick fashion several times. But I think the thing we may see with Goldberg in AEW is a one-shotter.
Yeah, just one
Just
match.
like a one big pay-per-view thing where, you know, he has his big goodbye in America.
Yep.
And unless WWE's willing to do it, but I don't know if it would be too much of the same at this point. And under new ownership, I just don't see them really going
Yeah.
for it. So I think maybe when it comes to it, AEW would be a good spot in terms of television for Goldberg, but it might not be a good fit for AEW. At the same time, I see him just traveling the world and hitting up every bigger independent promotion maybe and doing his big goodbye, or doing what Hogan did, bankrolling his own tour.
Australia, the Hulkamania tour.
Yeah, like he could feasibly put on 5 shows
could.
worldwide with a handful of talent from back in the day.
But if he goes to AEW, I would love to see him and Powerhouse Hobbs. That would be my dream
Yeah,
Goldberg
just
retirement.
walk in, just kicks him over, foot on chest, 1, 2, 3.
No.
Give Hobbs a very important belt beforehand. Like just invent
Yeah.
a whole new, really
A whole
important
new one.
It's like king of all the wrestlers
Like make it
ever.
red or something.
Better than Antonio Inoki, it'll say on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then Goldberg just stands on him and wins.
And then retires. Goes off in the sunset.
No.
You sitting on his shoulder like Miss Elizabeth.
No, yeah, like his son. Let's get my shirt off in the front row.
He would certainly be someone that would draw a lot of eyes to AEW. He'd be someone that people
For
would...
good or bad, right?
For good or
Yeah.
bad, and especially when with TV deals and all that sort of properties, maybe with going to HBO Max, going to Max, whatever it's called now, that's going to be a thing that they look at.
And those backstage doors will never be the same again.
Exactly. Well, a report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter has given us an update on AEW's TV deals with Warner Brothers Discovery, when they said that they will expire on December 31st, 2024, which does confirm some of the speculation that a new deal was signed between the two companies when Collision was added to the schedule back in the summer. This gave Warner Brothers Discovery exclusivity rights to AEW content, which then caused AEW to scrap Dark and Dark Elevation. But that looks like AEW is locked in with WBD. WBD?
Yeah. I think it's not really a surprise that they re-upped at the time, because if you're signing a new deal for a TV show, it might as well be like, well, if we're going to sign that for this amount of time, we may as well extend that through that amount of time, right? So I think it wouldn't surprise me if they were to stay with Warner, but again, it all just depends. You know, it depends what Warner's looking for, if it's ratings, if it's, you know, like just generally having wrestling on the content. Like, is it content based? Is it like, there are so many factors now that go into deals beyond just how many people are watching live, right? So I think that they wouldn't have re-upped if it wasn't already a mutually beneficial thing. Collision certainly wouldn't have happened, I don't think, if it wasn't a mutually beneficial thing. So maybe Warner will remain the home moving forward, but we'll not know till next Christmas.
We'll not know till next Christmas. They seem so ingrained in AEW. You've got the TNT title, you've got the TBS title.
You can change them, man.
You can, but that's
the Discovery Channel title.
Forever known as them in the
Spike
start. The Spike
title.
TV title.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could
The
mix it
Sci-Fi
up.
Channel title.
That's what we want, Sharknado.
Yeah.
We want some Sharknado.
Bring back
But I
Bravo.
think, oh, I loved Bravo. Bravo's a great channel. Or Challenge TV. But
Bit of A-Team, bit of Takeshi's Castle, TNA.
and then AEW, maybe. No, they're staying with Warner Brothers Discovery until December 31st, 2024 at the very least. But going to SmackDown last night, as you could see by the title, LA Knight was pulled from SmackDown last night. We have had an update on why that is from Fightful Select, saying that LA Knight tested positive for COVID at the start of the show.
Throwback, innit?
Right? It feels like we've maybe got over that, but no,
like somebody in the office got it not too long ago, and we're all like, whoa.
Yeah, you steer clear.
How do you do that? Are you just like licking the floor everywhere you go? Like,
definitely licking the floors. Sean Ross Sapp saying he tested positive for COVID right before the show, and he says, I mean, like right before the show, and unfortunately had to leave the building. That meant that some plans for SmackDown had to change.
The plans that had to, this must have sucked for him.
This will have sucked. Sean Ross Sapp went on to say that originally LA Knight was listed as being involved in tonight's contract signing, last night's contract signing. Knight was listed as a surprise to help John Cena. He was also internally listed as teaming with Cena in a dark match after the show. And obviously this is not a Vince McMahon change, this is a medical change. So before there's any speculation that Vince had any involvement in this change,
no, we don't know.
It was COVID, unless Vince gave him COVID.
Vince might have a vial just sitting there in his office,
spraying him. But
maybe Vince is the originator.
Maybe, but it really sucks for LA Knight. Really sucks.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's not. It'd be one thing just to have COVID and miss a standard week, but to miss a match of that magnitude, even if it is a dark match, you know, the crowd response to that would have been insane. The hype in, you know, all of the post-show videos leaking online would have been insane. I think we may see it again.
I think next, whenever he's recovered,
it's like a 1 weekish deal now, right? So like, hopefully by next SmackDown,
he'll be back.
Somebody that physically fit.
Oh, he's
take 2 days, sneeze it out.
Sweat it out.
And just, yeah.
Well, hopefully he'll be back back on SmackDown soon. As we said, it was a massive missed opportunity because of this, but unfortunately things like this happen. But LA Knight, I'm sure, will bounce back from it. He will be on top of every single TV show going into Fastlane, and hopefully we'll see him team with John Cena. That's the dream, right? But that is all the news we have for you just now. We will be back later on today with more wrestling news, because the wrestling news just doesn't stop. Make sure you check out the podcast that went live last night. And in the meantime, we will see you later.